Hi, my name is Adam Anton, and welcome to Seek and Find. Seek and Find is a new initiative that we're doing here at St. Teresa of Avila. It's basically taking your questions, which you've submitted at the 9 p.m. Mass or in the Student Center, and looking to answer them. And so our first Seek and Find episode is going to deal with Lent. So we're already a week or two into the Lenten season, and you may be thinking, all right, this was exciting during Ash Wednesday, but how's it going through the journey? And so there are three questions that we want to focus on today. The first is, when we started Lent, why did I rub dirt on my face? The second is, why is the color purple everywhere now? And the final one is, why can't I eat a steak when I go out with my friends on Fridays during Lent? Why do I have to stop eating meat on Fridays? All right, so the first one has to do with ashes on our head during the Lenten season on Ash Wednesday. This practice is very old. It actually goes back to the time of the Old Testament. So whenever people were struggling with sins, or they were seeking repentance or mercy or forgiveness for their sins, some of them would sit in ashes, some of them would dump ash on their heads. There's something that has to do with repentance with the use of ashes. And so on Ash Wednesday, we continue that practice. This is a season of reflection and thinking about how we can grow in our relationship with God. Actually, in the Eastern practice of Ash Wednesday, they don't put it on their foreheads. They sprinkle the dust and the ash on top of their heads, which kind of connects to that Old Testament practice. Even in thinking about the prayer that's used during that time, it's remember you are dust, and to dust you shall return. This Lenten season is all about getting back to the roots and the fundamentals of the gospel: prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. The second question dealt with the color purple and why we use it. Purple, traditionally speaking, is a color of repentance and penance and sorrow, which is what this season is about. But interestingly enough, purple is also a color of royalty. We see this in the gospel when, after Jesus is mocked and scourged and crowned with thorns, they drape a purple cloth over his shoulders. Now granted, they were mocking Jesus, but what they didn't realize was that they were speaking a truth. Jesus is the King of all creation. He is the King of the universe. And so in this Lenten season, we reflect on that. Finally, the question about, why can I eat meat on Fridays? Right? When all my friends want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings on Friday, why can I eat it? Meat, traditionally speaking, is associated with feasting. Okay? Think about, for example, in the 15th chapter of Luke's Gospel, when it's the story of the prodigal son. And the son returns home, and what does the father do? He slaughters the fattened calf, right? There's something about feasting and celebration with meat. In the ancient world, meat was pretty rare. Most of their diet had to do with fish and vegetables and starches. And so in this Lenten season, we think about the fact that we're not feasting, we're fasting, right? So we want to abstain from the use of meat. Fridays in general have always been considered a day of penance. We traditionally say that Jesus died on a Friday. So it used to be in the church's tradition that every Friday, not just on Lent, but every Friday, people would abstain from meat. But now the church says we want to focus on abstaining from meat on Fridays during Lent. However, we should be seeking opportunities for sacrifices and reparations all Fridays throughout the year, not necessarily meat. So those are just some of the questions that were asked about Lent and our practices during Lent. If you have more questions, regardless of whether it's about Lent, whether it's about the relationship with God or about the faith, please feel free to bring them and turn them into the Student Center. We're happy to answer them. This whole series really ties back to the gospel. In the 9th chapter of Luke's Gospel, Jesus is very clear: ask and you will receive, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be open. And so we're going to take them up on that offer. And so please feel free to turn in your questions. May your Lent be a blessed one. May you have a wonderful spring break, and God bless you.